Good evening, everyone. System Chalk here with the 36th episode of the Librarian run for Cultist Simulator. We've got a couple things coming up. So we have a season of despair, and sadly, our contentment's not going to help us. With that. We've got a rival who's currently plundering Key Hunter's garret, and unfortunately, that means I may have to give up a Forgotten Chronicle in order to be able to undo that error. We're getting Tristan on a snare to hopefully catch them. I am going to leave the Explore verb open to, to visit the Ecdysis Club again to try and get that contentment. And then, what else? We are trying to get our scholarship up, but our scholarship, I believe in this case, will be moved up by knock, which I'm planning on keeping. In fact, I don't believe I have a way of losing that knock unless I were to use it in a ritual, which I can't because I don't have any of the rights. So we've kind of our work cut out for us today, I think, so we'll unpause and see where it all winds up. So Season of Suspicion coming up. I think I'm just going to have to get hit by the notoriety here. We've already destroyed the evidence, so the consequences aren't that bad. Dark Days, I must be careful not to let doubts creep in. So 24 seconds, and then an adequate snare. Rivals are cautious. They don't prowl the streets like hunters. To defeat one, we must prepare a trap and await our opportunity. So Edgeforge, Moth, or Winter are useful for creating snares. Once created, snare can be used when an independent makes an attempt on a vault. Well, I'm already full of notoriety, so let's make one of them fancy paintings. I should be a little wary about bringing another fascination in, but do a portrait of Cat Karen nonetheless. Something to remember them by, perhaps. The words contain knowledge, now I contain it. It's a little like theft, and a little like feasting, and a little like the progress of an infectious disease. I thought I had more erudition. Last night, in the great pavilion above the grey sprawl of the Bounds, a woman who once called herself Teresa Gallagher sat on gilt-fringed cushions and offered me a horn cup of dream wine. The wine is imaginary, she explained, but the cup is not. To navigate the Mansus, one must understand the distinction. Perhaps one day you'll join me on the pilgrimage, or I'll join you. So here, let us share a secret. And her breath tickled my ear. Okay, so I'm going to leave that aside because I may be able to upgrade the pawn now. Let's use my dreams. So, I don't think it would be a bad idea for me to clear out the fascination here. Well, no, because... Nope, this still makes sense. So the doors of vision swing wide, a little darkness will mellow my light, even dread has its uses. So no reason not to visit the Ecdysis Club at this point. The drinks, the songs, the light, the arcing walls, the smoke-blue haze, the press and sway of clothed and unclothed flesh. And my followers prepared a stratagem which, with considerable luck, might defeat a rival's plans. So, here we go. If I've prepared a snare, I can try to set an ambush for my rival to defeat their expedition and even injure them. Okay, what do I want to talk to someone about? Let's try and get that upgrade in. Technically, I could do that for everyone, but promote a believer by invoking knock. My follower will kneel as a novice and rise as an initiate. I will administer the necessary oaths myself. But it looks... Yeah, actually I had a Grail pawn as well, so I should have tried to advance the Grail pawn the last time that I had a knock. I wasn't really thinking that through. But we've got it now, so... I am curious to see how this turns out, though. Follows the night, I could spend money on better paints, or perhaps I could find more exotic pigments. I feel like I've talked about Plotinus's On Beauty, but actually when I particularly think about making a masterpiece from one of the... when I think about making a masterpiece from a particular character, it reminds me of that essay. I don't think I will... I need to get it, and the passages I'm thinking of, I actually don't remember specifically where they are. The edition I have is from school, so I almost certainly have a bunch of underlining. I was a little bit better with marginalia when I was studying, whereas now I kind of like to keep my books pristine. But yeah, it's, I don't know. I actually don't know if there's... I'm assuming people who like Cultist Simulator would be familiar with Neoplatonists, but I'm not sure. Alright, I've purchased pleasure. I reel home in the ungodly hours and collapse into bed. Okay, so I suppose the question is, do I want to try an expedition, or do I want to... You know, there is one thing I can actually try to do to help out the effort, and that would be I want to try and get some more erudition. Got a season of ambitions coming up, so hopefully I will be able to try. Oh, that's the worst possible one that could have got picked up. I might have found somewhere unusual. So if I keep spamming Lantern, I potentially get an erudition. This will show to best advantage in utter darkness, like us all. This is actually not a... I'm going to hire the experienced swindler on the chance that we need to destroy evidence. Alright, what are we up against here? So we've got the door in the eye, which I'm very happy to have. He came from the glory we cannot help but see. So the intensity of radiance is going to have an effect. Got a contentment if that counts for anything. I'm going to try and run this out as long as I can. And lighten the skull. Words contain knowledge, now I contain it. It's a little like theft, a little like feasting, and a little like the progress of an infectious disease. So let's just take stock. So I've got one lesson learnt. We'll have two here. I actually am already over-equipped. So I think the time has come for us to start turning these things into... Our snare has failed. Our rival has evaded our trap. So there's a restlessness. I'm going to want to paint that away, but I'm also going to have to do my investigation. Whatever they sought here, they haven't found it. They've abandoned their expedition for now. Okay. Good. I don't know if the snare had anything to do with it, but I'm happy. To she who is flesh, I offer my wounds. To she who is stone, I offer this moment, where my old self divides from my new. To she who came from light, I offer my secrets. The door is opened. Dexterous disciple, loyal and clever with locks. Now this is only 2 knocks, so it's not all that much. Actually, I can't remember. I don't think there's a key equivalent for the higher level disciple. I don't know if we have evidence we need to worry about yet, so I'm gonna hold off on that. Let's go... This is gonna turn into dread. I think we go back to the white door. Yeah, so we're leaving the talk verb open because we don't know what we're up against with the investigator. And unfortunately, we've got another season of despair coming up. so this restlessness is going to become a liability. I'm certain my adversary has lodged a copy of their notes elsewhere, with their solicitor, with their superior, or even with a contact in the press. This is troubling. And the clouds part. The wolf despair prowls elsewhere. No dread empowers this despair. It's over for now. So, priorities. 10 seconds we'll get the swindler. Swindler will deal with the evidence. We are going to get hit by the season of despair. I don't see a way to clear out the dread by the time we get hit by it. So we add our reason. I am discipline. I am all discipline. I haven't lasted this long to give up so easily. So buy their loyalty for now. So use the swindler with the evidence, and I think we are ready to go on a trip. Chateau Reveline. The favorite stories of the Comte de Reveline claim they descended from the first Sun King. Other stories have them prowling in the forest in wolf shape. They are long gone. Their rotting chateau remains. Not all its malignities have been uncovered. The remote and rotting chateau of the Comte de Reveline was looted long ago. We have found hints that it was not looted thoroughly enough. There may be a secret room. Equally, there may be a curse. Too many curses. Alright. So as it is, if we just add enough lantern, we're good. I mind the library. I've picked up odd facts here and there. If I spend time studying what I've learnt, I could increase my reason. In last night's dream, I was in the lodge of the Sage Knight behind the white door. It is difficult to remember exactly how I came there, and the mistress of this place, the woman with the dark glasses, was nodding as if I had asked her a difficult question. Of course I hadn't. I lost my speech when I passed the white door. How is it that I can speak, she said to me. I didn't come here through the white door. I'm not proud of what I did to come here, so let me tell you something else. Okay. My investigations turned up no new leads. I think we're going to do another of these fancy masterpiece paintings. It seems to have been pretty good at generating some contentment for me, so I can do heart, I can do edge, I can do knock. If I'm feeling saucy, I could try the moth. You never know, this might be a living. Porter hasn't seen some action, so we'll do a painting of Porter. Something to remember them by, perhaps. No reason for us to avoid Porter. So, under normal circumstances, we would use the dread to get rid of the fascination, but the dread gets picked up here. Our best bet, honestly, is to just visit the Ecdysis Club when the time comes. I actually probably should have done that before I went on the expedition, but that's life. Colors of the night. I could spend money on better paints, or perhaps I could find more exotic pigments. Piebald pigment it is. There is really no pattern here for how I'm building my paintings. I'm just kind of doing whatever feels right. The temptation is past for now. So hopefully we destroy the evidence. If we don't, I'm going to be in some trouble. A minion is returned, stumbling, mumbly, clumsily bandaged. They were caught in the coils of their own plan. Right, not great. the library. Okay, let's start reading some essays. Improve my reason. Exercise for the intellect. Worthy medium. Let the critics argue over what color this actually is. Perhaps they'll come to blows. I've made something unique, something extraordinary, something I will never dare exhibit publicly. The invisible arts, Christopher Lopoli is said to have remarked, are as profitable as macrame, as ethical as tobacco smuggling, and in general as beneficial as roulette. Still, there is always the Orchard of Light, and indeed the orchard, with its glowing fruit and peaceful mists, is a place to be yearned for. Last night I walked there in the peaceful hours of the deep night, and even after waking I still carry with me a little of the glory of the old sun. So because this is potentially something that will lose the game for me, I'm going to use the fleeting reminiscence here. I made something unique, something extraordinary, something I will never dare to exhibit publicly. This cannot possibly ever see daylight. Earn no funds, but it will earn me contentment. The rattling in the soul will be something I need to deal with later. And here we have the moth. In the forests of the first continent, our ancestors cursed themselves with their own god. I don't think there's any reason to hold back or pursue the investigation against the ne'er-do-well. Of course we're going to get hit by the fascination. I do think this intensity of radiance is going to catch us. A way through the hidden door. Faint lines in stone, a surface that yields to pressure. We found it. The hidden door moves with a grating shudder and a shower of dust. Hobson's on this one, so he may bungle the investigation. Upon the Colonel who cannot be denied. The Colonel is a fierce hour, but a power that knows light. He has survived worse. His power will almost certainly protect us. And we've got now wintry experienced Swindler. The wound is healed, but this one came very close to death. Silence has touched them like snow. My scheme will most likely succeed. There is always a chance something will go awry. And possibilities. Okay, one more essay, and then we're good to improve my reason. Exercise for the intellect. Okay, Hobson's considering the evidence. The air is curdled now. I'm home again in this lumpen flesh. Better, perhaps. And my investigation has turned up no new leads, so nothing for me to do with the Season of Visions. I may be a little reluctant to... No. You will be bold. So 48 seconds, this is definitely going to hit us. Spare baits, and Season of Sickness coming up. We currently don't have any vitality, so I may want to consider that. Hobson blew it on the investigation, so I should have read the text for that. I do apologize. But it looks like we dodged a few bullets here, so we got this snare off in time. I don't know if that affected what happened with the location, but basically the location wasn't plundered. We've got the curse shrivels. Okay, we also did get hit by the curse. Worst we have is tentative evidence. I await word. And we are on our way to improving the scholarship. So again, it's always interesting to double check. So I will cross the threshold where the horned axe waits. Oh, interesting. Exercise the mind, deeper concentration. I will be relentless. I will not be denied. So all of them would work here. I'm pretty sure knock is the one that I want, though. I did write these down. So I wrote from the... was it two broadcasts ago? I did write some notes. So I wrote health, edge, reason, knock, passion, knock. I actually specifically wrote here rarefied mind bracket knock. So I'm hoping my previous self was smart. I'm pretty sure, because I think I did this one in the priest, but I'm starting to doubt myself here. Anyways, I will cross the threshold where the horned axe waits. This one is kind of important because it is going to determine whether or not I succeed with or whether it's easy enough for me to level up the secret histories. But I don't know, like I said, you can I mean, if you spend enough time, you can kind of find anything out, but at this point, it's kind of fun to just see where all this goes. Alright, I don't really feel a need to keep the experienced swindler hanging around. I do see a need to improve my reputation though, so we'll get Leo working on the charm offensive. Okay, there's the fascination. I think I'll just let the restlessness decay into dread. Last night I dreamt of a blue silk pavilion overlooking the cloudy labyrinth of the Bounds. I listened to the mistress of this place speak of other visitors. The Suppression Bureau come here. Did you know that? I think they hope to recruit me as an ally. She snorts derisively. After what they tried to do to Christopher, their folly is your fortune. I will tell you something that may help you if the Bureau ever troubles you. So that has been a little bit of a shame not to be able to use all this glimmering you know, in upgrades, but we are doing a bigger upgrade. Okay, health-wise, so we did get the Course of the Heart, which is nice, but I still don't have a Thunderskin painting yet, so that's the next one. You never know, this might be a living. Something to remember them by, perhaps. Okay, we get a free turn coming up, which is nice. Childhood's End. Behind a rotting tapestry of wolves hunting men, a paneled wall. In the paneled wall, a secret door. The spring is long gone, of course. We had to smash it with hammers. My own heart pumps more strongly today, so that will be helpful. The last treasures of the Comte de Reveline lie here, in a surprisingly airy room. High skylight windows have long since broken, and the floor is lost underneath leaves and debris. Once the place was furnished as a nursery. Here is a cradle with the skeleton of a puppy. Alright, the high mysteries of the innermost chamber of our church solar, secret rites of the Church of the Unconquered Sun, which held power in at least 2 histories. The Book of True Blood, a work by Cassius the Tomman. I'm running out of space, so I think I'm gonna... I'll add some gap. I think I'll still be able to make sense out of this. I'll just maybe leave some gaps for the series. I've got the Morphe Codex, a text of the Sisterhood of the Knot, unearthed by Evan Morphe. So there is... yeah, I kind of feel like the Morphe Codex may actually make sense, but then we also had... Yeah, you know what, we can do some reorganization. So let's put the Morphe Codex in here, but then there was another... I think it was more of a critical work on the Sisterhood of the Knot. Not this one. I really feel like there was another book related to the Sisterhood of the Knot. Anyway, Cinnabar Amulet. Scarlet is the color of heat. Mercury holds one key to an ultimate dissolution. More Grey Dawn oil. Some leftover money. Okay, trying to decide if it's a good idea for me to do another expedition right away, or if we try something else. I think I can live with another expedition. Okay, Orthos Wood. The pines grow thick as hairs on a dog's back. The airs of the inner wood are chokingly thick with resin and dust. The source that brought you here claimed that in the dawn times, the greatest tree at the wood's black heart served as a perch for a great masked crow. So this seems like one we would want to throw moth followers at. In the black heart of Orthos Wood, we might find the tree where the masked crow met its peers, but the forest itself is a peril, and the cannibal clans who live there are another. The higher I rise, the more I see. A rarefied mind. My mind is glass, my memory light. I don't know if I ever read the description for... Yes, I did. Okay, so with the study verb, it seems to me like it's time to try and subvert the lore. Study the lore which opens... Oh, yes. Okay, so acquires knowledge. Only knowledge? No, also practical experimentation. And I'm okay risking my health here. There are incantations of unseeming where the space between the words is as potent as the actual syllables. When a thing is opened, we will know its nature. Any lore studied with knock becomes knock. Right, the sweet dawn of the sea rebirths you. Something unique, something extraordinary, something I will never dare to exhibit publicly. So there's the dread. So as it turns out, we're overloaded for what we need. But we can use the contentment to clear that out. So the sister and witch. She has been a pair of funeral birds, but here she is as she would wish to drown. Investigating a target, the more reason I use, the better my chance of success. Let's move the pulsing airs. I can bring a little more... I can bring some order on the desktop now. We've kind of cleared out the majority of our tough work. Okay, so no big surprises here. We've got the peril-prowled forest. Long ago, the primal trees marched from sea to sea. Some traces of their reign still survive. Like this dense and choking territory of root and thorn, the practicalities of forage or the mysteries of moth may see us through. I recall my dream. This was the Lodge of Blue Silk, flapping in the winds of the bounds at the Mansa's edge, and here was its mistress, who welcomed me as she welcomes all travelers. Company is nice, she confided, but I still miss my Christopher. 10 years. 10 years and not enough. But we could not have been long together, not without touching each other, and you know what occurs when a man long lies with a long woman. Or perhaps you don't. I hope you don't. I won't tell you just in case. I will give you a tiny gift. So with all this glimmering, one of the hopes that I have is to move up some of the Secret Histories lore. So in theory, we've got 4 upgrades basically for free. In practice, there is a time limit on these. Now, I don't see any advantage to keeping the dread hanging around right now. We're already dealing with the visions, so we'll combine the dread and contentment for starters. This does mean we need to wait a while on the illness, but that's fine because we've got 1 vitality now. We've got a Course of the Heart generating something in 30 seconds, and we also have Pulsing Airs, which will decay into Heart as well. So we are in very good shape there. And I think actually this is not a bad place to wrap it up. So we did get through quite a bit this time around. I'll talk a little bit about the plan for next week because I believe this is the last video for this week. But you may have noticed, so obviously the big news, you may have noticed, I mean, I do have, this is background noise, but I'm pretty sure the obvious things that I'm doing will still remain obvious. Basically, the edge, I was keeping the edge around on the assumption that I would be able to I'd be able to upgrade it and complete one of the commissions, and it's seemingly less likely that that's going to happen. And so instead of keeping it around for no real reason, I've got the last thing that I wanted it for was the Matchless Physique, which we now have. And now with that role completed, I can combine it with the Nock lore and move it up. It does actually raise some questions to me in terms of what are the viable, so if you, like, theoretically, if you were interested in doing this this type of a run, what would be the best cults to found? Now we got lucky here in the sense that our riddle was the Nock one, because that lines up with our lore. I suppose another lucky one is if you get the Secret Histories riddle. But yeah, so I guess it does kind of depend. So there's 2 things that it depends on. So the Nock one is nice because you can use basically any of the lore that you get, and you can combine it to get a higher level. But that may not necessarily mean anything for Gearby. If you want to advance your lore as high as you can, I suppose it would be because you get 2 copies of De Bellis Murorum. You'd either want an Edge cult, you would want or something that subverts Edge. So I think that would be Forge, if I'm not mistaken. I actually want to look that up. I should know this, but no, it's Edge and Winter. Right, I remember now. I think I had this idea of like the breaking of the weapon, but no, it's Edge and Winter turns into Winter. So excuse me. So yeah, De Bellis Murorum is the only book you can read and still have one of everything. So there's that. There is there's the lore that you get from Orleans. Yeah, so actually I guess you don't even get to choose. I guess you don't even get to choose what the initial one is, but the ones that work best. So Secret Histories, I guess, because that's the one that you're sort of guaranteed to have the best. De Bellis Murorum, so it's either Forge and Edge to get more Edge, or Edge and Winter to get Winter. So I guess it's Winter. I guess it would be Winter, Edge, Nock, and Secret Histories are the 4. And again, some of this depending on the riddle you get. But it's very clear if you try to do this thing, the riddle will definitely hurt you in some cases, because I don't see how you can actually solve the Stag Doors riddle without reading one of these books, at least in some of the cases. So I guess the lesson is I really don't want to lose this playthrough, because this is the best I'm gonna get. This is the best chance I'm gonna get to actually pull this thing off. Okay, that's interesting. But yeah, so like, what are we up to now? Well, I will be able to solve the Stag Doors riddle, so we can move up a little bit higher. That does mean that we have access to slightly better lore. The study verb is going to be occupied by upgrading the lore, ideally using up this glimmering if I can, but as a default, I'll move these occult scraps up to Furtive Truths and the Furtive Truths up to Forgotten Chronicles. Once we're at the point where we only have Forgotten Chronicles, then I will basically alternate between... Oops. At that point, I'll be alternating between studying Passion and doing the upgrade. I do kind of want to do this as early as I can, and the reason for that is if for whatever reason the curses start eating away at my Passion, if I'm not able to get Glimmering on a regular basis, that makes upgrading the secret histories quite a bit more difficult. And that's sort of the way that, it's not necessarily the fastest way of doing it, but that's the way that I'm going to sort of secure my access to the higher level secret histories. So even if I can't move any higher than the Stag Door, I'm at least going to be able to get the Port Noon anecdotes through sheer hard work. Anyways, thank you very much for watching. I hope you all have a wonderful weekend, and we will see you on Monday. Take care.